All right, I got a question for y'all, and this is towards like the whole MMA community as whole. It's not directed towards my subscribers, my followers, because based on the comments I've seen, half of y'all niggas been watching MMA as long as I have. So this is more towards that fucking bird over there just flopping away. But anyway, this is more towards the MMA community as a whole. I've seen the comments, I've seen the criticism from, fans like me and even new generation fans. I even seen criticism of professional fighters. They weighing in on the topic. Now I know this is like weeks and days late, but I low-key just had that recent thought in my head with the whole Max Holloway, Charlie Olives situation, right? The way Charlie Olives beat Max Holloway, right? And he won the BMF belt. Now, those that have been paying attention to my videos, y'all know how I feel about the BMF. I do fuck with Max Holloway and Charlie Olives, like, heavy. Like, those are one of my, two of my favorite fighters, right? But the BMF as a whole, I feel like the UFC or the sport of MMA, it really don't need a belt like that to give these niggas any validity or validation like these are badasses. Like, nigga, if you in the UFC in general, you is a fucking badass. Don't matter if your record is like 10-5 or you undefeated or you like 15-1. Nigga, you in the UFC, and even, if you don't pan out to be one of the best, even if you win a fight in the UFC, you is a badass. You know what I mean? You're a professional mixed martial artist for a reason. But the BMF belt, we can do, at least to me, we can do away with the BMF belt. Now, the question is, now I know this generation of MMA fans, I wouldn't, I ain't gonna group them in a box like that, but just from the shit that I've seen, I know half y'all niggas, y'all just watch the UFC, and that's cool, right? I always say all the time, eventually I'm turning this channel to all things MMA, because so just a little update, my OG Instagram account got fucking erased because Paramount got me with some copyright strikes, so now I had to make a new Instagram. So I'm kind of hesitant on just making UFC content on Instagram, which is why I'm gonna get into other more MMA organizations other than One Championship. But speaking on One Championship, this is the question. For those that don't watch One Championship put on, they're pretty much like the UFC, but One Championship, their pay-per-view cards is formatted different. They have an MMA fight. For those, especially for those that seen DJ, y'all know DJ and Rod Tang, they did like a series of fights. They did a series of matches where one was like a straight Muay Thai fight. The other one was MMA rules. So they did a whole bunch of, they did like a series of fights, but like one was oriented in a different discipline of rules. Like I said, one was MMA oriented, the other one was Muay Thai, and so on, right? So One Championship, the way they format their cards, they will have a regular MMA fight, and then they'll have like a Muay Thai, let's say like a flyweight, say like it's a flyweight title fight, right? But that flyweight title fight is a Muay Thai only type fight. And they'll have that in the same card. Now, the question I want to ask, and y'all let me know in the comments, with shit like this, would y'all like to see the UFC go to One Championship route where, you have something like the BMF belt where it just stand up only? You know what I mean? Like, if y'all, because I seen the criticism of how they said, the BMF, if they was to keep the BMF fight, right, or keep the BMF belt alive, it needs to be boxing, pretty much, stand-up oriented. Boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, whatever. So, what I'm getting at is, but at the same time, if you're going to do that, it's not really an MMA fight. The UFC puts on MMA fights only. So, I'm bringing this to the front, to the front line is, do y'all want to see UFC just for like certain pay-per-view, either certain pay-per-views, like certain matchups? Do y'all want to see, damn, my fucking screen going, it's too damn cold out here. The screen fucking going green as shit. Hold on. Let me see something. It's crazy because it's not even that cold right now. But would y'all like to see UFC change their format up to where we have an MMA fight, right? Then we have a wrestling or grappling fight, right? Then we have a Muay Thai fight. Then we have a kickboxer fight. Or do y'all just want to keep the UFC the way it is now? And all the reason why I'm asking this question because, yes, I will agree that the way Charlie Olives fought is not BMF, is not fitting for what they was fighting for. But at the same time, it's mixed martial arts. The UFC put on mixed martial arts fights, and y'all know how Charlie Olives is. You should have expected him to grapple the fuck out of Max Holloway, right? So that's the only reason why I'm speaking on this like days later or at least weeks later, because I'm like, I see the frustration, but then at the same time, yes, the UFC, y'all hear me say this all the time, I sound like a broken record with this, but in today's climate of the UFC, it's all about entertainment, but it's still MMA at the end of the day. But I just recently found a solution about One Championship, because One Championship, like I said earlier, One Championship put on a lot of fights on their cards that's not MMA oriented. It's like pretty much disciplined fights. Pretty much majority of the disciplines in MMA, and they have their own fight. You know, not their own fight, but they have their own spot on the card. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all want UFC to change their format in situations like this? You know, have MMA fights and then, you know, have them introduce like Muay Thai fights, or even like what they do with RAF, because RAF is starting to sign a lot of good niggas. They got Armin in there, they got Khamzat, and this been going on for years and years and years. You know, a lot of niggas, especially the new generation fans, they don't know that a lot of these UFC fighters, they do shit outside of the UFC. So like you see like Aljo or Marab, they go compete in these grappling tournaments, or even like you see UFC doing the BJJ. They starting to have like they BJJ tournaments and shit like that. There's a lot of niggas that do the BJJ shit in another organization on the side, and they come back to the UFC, you know, when the UFC is ready to book their fights. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all want the UFC to change their format? Just, you know, just because I mean, if the route that we going in, hold on, y'all. Where's my dog at? Oh, he's over there. She's over there. If we in the climate of UFC being entertaining, but niggas like me still want them to be true to the sport of MMA, then, you know, maybe we could come to a middle ground and say, you know what, UFC need to change, you know, they need to update they match or their card format, you know. But y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. Y'all want the UFC to change their format, or just keep the shit the way it is? Either way, to be quite honest, y'all know me. Y'all know my philosophy. I'm all about the legit integrity of the sport of MMA. But, you know, if they wanted to change they format, I'm all for it, to be quite honest, because you can get everything, especially for somebody like me. And this is why, you know, I like One Championship. I always say One Championship, even though it don't have the mainstream press of a UFC, One Championship to me is basically the top pinnacle of the sport of MMA. One Championship is the true representation of what the sport has to offer. And UFC is our American. As American, UFC is the best league that we have to offer as, you know, as Americans. But it's not. They've gone to the entertainment route of things, you know, and pretty much all sports is doing that. You know, football, and it's not just, you know, WWE, it's football, motocross, for those like me that like dirt bike racing. Motocross been going somewhat, well, not motocross, but like supercross. It's like two different disciplines, but supercross gone the way of entertainment factor and shit like that. Definitely NBA, football, you know, majority of these mainstream sports is like starting to you know, turn his back on their integrity just for the entertainment value of shit, so they can get, you know, more ticket sales and all this shit, which is cool, but it frustrates a nigga like me. But anyway, I ain't gonna hold y'all up too long. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Yeah, till my next video tomorrow. I'm gonna see y'all niggas later, man.